Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Docs Huddle, your gateway to an in-depth connection between sports medicine and the latest events in sports, fantasy, and betting. Today's show is brought to you by the Health and Wellness Depot. Unlock the power of well-being. With me, as always, Dr. MJB, the legend, and CJ, the sports enthusiast. How are we doing, boys?
What's going on?
It's good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be back.
So to get things kicked off, boys, I have some breaking news. We have DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs for a conditional fifth round pick. I need to hear what you guys think about it. I first heard the news at work and barely could work. I was like, whoa, what is going on? But I'll chime in on how I felt, but I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts on that.
I mean, back when D-Hop was signing with Tennessee, I thought it was like a crazy move for his career. Like nothing was going to happen. That was when Tannehill was, quarterback. And I kept saying to myself, why doesn't he go to a team like this where he can actually get the production that he needs? And, a lot of people are saying that D-Hop's washed up. I think he's going to shine. I think Patrick Mahomes finally has some possession hands, and, he's going to fit exactly what the Chiefs need.
Yeah, I think it's exciting for him. I do think he's on the back end of his career. Now, I think one thing we're really going to get to see, he's still got the hands, right? But if he lost a step, how good is that route running, right? Like how much separation can he still achieve due to his knowledge of the game, understanding of zone coverages, and his ability to just run a great route? I think he's still going to succeed, and I think they're going to feed him the ball over there. And listen, they need it, right? Because Travis Kelce, he's not producing like he used to. Pat Mahomes' numbers are actually, believe it or not, synonymous with Daniel Jones. Yeah, but he has more interceptions. Same amount of touchdowns this year. Like, it's pretty wild how low his numbers are. They're still winning, so whatever, it's working.
And from a fantasy perspective, I have Mahomes, and he's been on my bench. Baker Mayfield was the second quarterback I actually drafted, and Baker's been starting for me over him just because of their production.
Which is the absolute right move. There's no question about it, especially what Baker's done this year. But back to Hopkins, I think that this is they're in desperate need at that wide receiver position right now. He needs help. So let's hope that this does it for him. And, I'd like to see it revitalize his career. I think he's still got it. I don't think it's going to be what he was doing on the Cardinals. So if people are expecting that, I don't know about that. But I agree with you, Chris. I'm glad that he's no longer on Tennessee, where really his career just went to just plummet.
Yeah. Listen, he was sent to Tennessee to die. Okay. Like, I honestly don't think that he would have got a second contract or another contract after his stint with Tennessee. I think it would have been this and done.
No, he was pulling a Julio Jones. He was on the way out of the league. How Julio got that contract with the Eagles was like God knows how, like a desperation move by the Eagles. But like after going there,
and then you get to the Chiefs. I don't think they're expecting him to be who he was in the past. He just needs to be a reliable pass catcher.
I think they're just looking for reliable hands, to be honest.
Exactly, and he can give them that.
The Chiefs just don't have that.
He can give them that.
Move the 6 on third down, and I think that he can do that. I think he's a guy. When Pat Mahomes is running around, doing Pat Mahomes-like things, now he's got another guy where he can reliably just chuck the ball to with his eyes closed, So,
can you imagine being DeAndre Hopkins? You wake up one morning, you go to sleep one night, you're a Tennessee Titan, wake up the next day, Patrick Mahomes is throwing you the ball? Man, I'd be in practice like, let's get it.
I mean, it's definitely the best way to revitalize a veteran's career like his. So, listen, we're gonna know, like I said earlier, and Chris, when you mentioned not getting another contract, or when you mentioned not getting another contract, this is it. Like either he's going to show up and he's going to be like,
he signed a 2-year deal, 2023, $26 million for the Tennessee Titans, and this, like you said, this might reignite that career. Where who knows? Maybe he gets an extension with the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's what he's playing for.
Yeah, for sure.
Real
quick before we pivot, I have less breaking news, but not sure if you guys know, Bryce Young is back to being the starting QB. Earlier this week, Andy Dalton got into a car accident. He
Whoa,
injured
I
his
didn't know that.
yeah,
Family, yeah.
he injured his thumb on his throwing hand, and he didn't
But they're all
practice
good.
today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thankfully,
I think
his
thankfully they're all
wife,
good.
children, and
Oh, that's
dog.
terrible.
Yeah, are all
But
okay.
now Bryce Young is slated back into the starting lineup. So I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts on that, especially Chris, since you didn't know. So this is actually perfect.
I mean, I think it's a do or die moment. You know, if he doesn't perform, you know, granted, I don't know who they have behind him, but if he doesn't perform and they're not happy with the way he is, do you try and trade him then before the trade deadline? Like, is this his last shot as a Carolina Panther? And it just fell into his lap. You know, I wasn't aware of it, but that's kind of interesting. You know, will he? You know, I think he just needs the confidence in the pocket. Will he regain confidence in the pocket, or just continue not to? So I don't know. I don't know if he fits in Carolina. I think he's had a tough time there, so I don't have high hopes. But I hope he does well. But I don't know. What do you think?
Have you ever seen the movie Jaws?
Yeah.
You know, and like, you know, and there's this or the Meg, which is like an even bigger version of Jaws, where like this massive being that's just gonna eat and destroy everything that comes its way. Well, that's gonna be Patrick Surtain to Bryce Young on Sunday. He is going to not do well. Okay.
Oh, he's playing the Broncos too.
Yeah, it's gonna be a friggin' nightmare, bro.
Defense
That's
is
what I think. That
bro,
defense is phenomenal. Patrick
crazy.
Surtain is gonna just remind him, yeah, you ain't ready for this.
Dude,
You never
that's
worked
a
for this.
rough
Go
way to
back on
come
that
back.
bench, bro.
I mean,
Yeah,
that Broncos
if he
defense
does
is
anything
wild.
positive, I'd be shocked.
Pretty sure they just put up 33 points against me this past week, just so everybody knows.
Listen, I have nothing else to say. You guys said it all. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I hopefully him being benched shows some signs of progress. Listen, I'm a Panthers fan. I'm not saying that they're gonna go out here and everything's gonna reverse, but I just
So-
want to see some kind of progress. That's it.
Let me ask you this then: as a Panthers fan, would you be interested in trading him before the trade deadline?
Great question. Great question.
You can't, man. You can't. Like,
Why
I
not?
still think he could be the future quarterback.
Yeah. So you still see him as the future quarterback?
I don't count his first year against him, and since I don't do that, I'm only going based off this year, and that was a short sample size for me to say I'm moving on. His first year was a crap show, man. Like, you had
You're talking like O-line issues, like not really
O-line coaching, play calling, you name it. It was terrible last year. This year he's owned up to it. Like, he didn't play well, but are we really going to move on if we're only counting this season, just the 2 games that he didn't play well? Then I can't say that. Now he's back in the starting lineup. If he finishes the season, it's a little different, but I think it'd be prematurely to trade him prior to the trade deadline.
So he plays bad this week. Let's say Tua is still banged up, just a random scenario. Dolphins offer you a 3rd round pick. You trading him or are you keeping him?
We gave up too much to get that, right? Like, I think because of what you gave up, you have to at least try and let it work and see what you can gain out of him. To trade all that away, use your number 1 pick on him, and to give him away from a 3rd, I'll be pissed if I, as a fan, honestly.
I don't even think you'll get that. Christopher was generous.
Yeah, and I'll be pissed
I
for
was,
anything.
You know,
So it's
Right.
like,
No, I think the fourth is the highest you're going to get. Maybe a conditional 4th, and if he takes the team to like the championship game or something, maybe he'll turn into a 3rd. I don't see it happening. I don't. Honestly, Mike, I hate to say it, but I think you're screwed.
no, but you
I just don't see any
have to
positive.
keep him. If we let him go, I'm writing David Tepper a letter, because I won't understand this, man. It just wouldn't make sense to me. It would not make sense to me. So yeah, I don't think you trade him. I don't. So
All right, fair.
all right, moving on to our next segment, doctor's rounds. All right, listen, week 7, man, there was a ton of injuries that we're gonna get into. I'll have you lead us off, Chris, of what injuries kind of stood out to you.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest one that stood out was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I also want to touch on DK Metcalf, but I think the biggest one for me was Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They played the Baltimore Ravens, and they were going to lose the game. Let's face it. They had 3 minutes left, and they kept airing the ball out, and even all the announcers were saying, I can't believe that they're taking risks right now. And then sure enough, Chris Godwin within the last, I think it was 3 minutes, gets hurt. So, the game was over. They were pushing, I don't know, their luck. Maybe they were down by 10, and there was no chance that it was less than 3 minutes. Actually, it was just, I think it was crazy. Really unfortunate. Chris Godwin out for the year, getting surgery on a dislocated ankle. Mike Evans,
bad for him.
Yeah, it's just terrible. Mike Evans re-aggravating a hamstring that he's previously aggravated this year. Also not playing. They're not putting him on IR, but they're hoping that he's out this week. They have a bye week, and they're going to play the Giants. That's the reason why Mike Evans is not going on IR. They're trying to get him back for the Giant game. So, they're just hurting right now at receiver. There's really not much else to say. They went from this powerhouse double threat to hurting big time at receiver.
Yeah.
And then, DK Metcalf, I think one player to keep your eye on is picking up Tyler Lockett and possibly playing him as a fantasy perspective. I think he's going to get a lot more production now. And DK Metcalf's questionable week to week, but I don't think he's going to play next week. And if he does, it's probably going to be limited.
Do you think that also increases Jackson and Bigsby's fantasy value?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think Tyler Lockett, he has random games every year where in fantasy he just pops. So I think that he's going to make his presence known. But yeah, I would say both of them are definitely going to get an increase in production.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. For sure.
What do you got for us?
Yeah.
Mike.
So, I think, the biggest one from a fantasy perspective in my eyes was the Jaden Daniels injury.
Yeah.
They're calling it a cracked rib, broken rib, whatever. Ribs, right? These things are a variable. We can't do anything immediately for them, right? You need to just let it heal on its own. Depending on severity, it can hurt just when you're breathing, right? Because your ribs have to expand and stuff. So, there's no way for us to know what the severity is and what his symptoms are, but this is going to be symptom based. They had the flat jackets where they'll put them to cover the ribs on him when he ggets back out there, which he'll be wearing for the remainder of the season. It's just a matter of when he can come back. I don't believe this is someone that you're going to want to play this week. I'll get to that, I believe Chris will get to that in a little bit. But he will be back. He'll be back, but this week for sure, don't expect him starting. And then Deshaun Watson, no one had him playing on their fan. Maybe in a 14 leagues where someone's desperate, they got him playing for them. But it's still a significant injury. I mean, if anyone watched, we were MJB, you and I were watching together, and we saw that thing just snap, right? It just popped right as he went to push off of it, as he went towards, hit the offensive lineman trying to move up in the pocket, and it just went. Unfortunate injury. He's definitely done for the year. We'll be seeing Seamus Davis coming in. Finally, I know I'm not the only one who's been waiting for this. So I wish it didn't come. I wish it just came because of a Watson benching, not because of an injury. But
yeah, absolutely.
We'll be, you never wish that upon anyone. But Jameis is going to be taking the field on Sunday, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thought that was pretty.
Yeah, and just speaking of backup quarterbacks, Jameis Winston's taking the field, and after Jaden Daniels went down, who is Marcus Mariota? 18 of 23, 205 yards and 2 passing TDs, no interceptions. Yeah, what's going on, man? He's going to carry this Washington team while Jaden Daniels is out.
Yeah.
So
And the crazy thing is that they don't even have a good offensive line.
Yeah.
These guys are just out here slinging it.
Just crazy.
Yeah, awesome.
Marcus always does well when he's not prepared for it because Like
You're right.
low,
That's what it is.
low pressure environment coming to the game where he's like, well, I mean, it's the Panthers. It's just gotta not mess it up, right? Like so. I felt terribly bad for Deshaun Watson, man. Say what you want about him, about his play and all that, but high character guy. I applaud Jameis Winston for speaking up for him because I heard that he was getting a lot of hate and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, he's not playing well, but this is this guy's life. So like we got to scale back as fans and understand that, yeah, could be someone's brother, father, uncle, however he impacts his family and friends. Like we got to keep that in mind. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, true. I think there's just a lot more animosity toward him than others, probably because of his legal issues. But
Yeah, 100%.
But you don't ever want to see anyone get hurt, especially on our end as the healthcare practitioners.
Oh, 1000%.
Yeah.
I'll dive a little deeper and talk about Brandon Ayuk, man. Wow. Torn ACL out for the season. I was like, whoa. Luckily for him, he signed his contract when he did.
I was gonna say
the timing is magnificent.
Yeah, because remember, Chris Godwin was in a situation like that. And other players would tell you don't leave money on the table. So Brandon Ayuk, that's a huge blow for the 49ers. Luckily, I think they have depth at receiver, which we'll get into later, but I think that kind of helps them.
The problem is the 49ers are just banged up, but just to jump in here, yeah, Brandon Ayuk's contract, he's sort of a 4-year deal extension this offseason or into the season, $120 million, and he's got $76 million guaranteed. So good thing he signed that.
Yeah, that could not have come at a better time.
No, and you said that was a 4-year deal, right?
Yeah, 4-year deal.
Yeah, so I mean, this guy, he's not playing until at least after the first couple games next season, right? So you assume he don't play until probably week 4, week 5 next year at the earliest, and he don't have to worry about anything. I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah, and then the other guy I was going to mention was Juju Smith-Schuster. He has a hamstring injury. He'll be out. I think hamstring is not anything that you want to rush back, man. And Mike Evans is a perfect example of that, especially after acquiring DeAndre Hopkins. There's no reason to rush him back out there. Let him heal up, get rested. You already have sufficient depth at the wide receiver position, so you can make it happen. Juju Smith-Schuster is not like the make or break for the Chiefs. So
yeah, 100%. I mean, now that I think about it too, the Chiefs having D-Hop, they also have Xavier Worthy. It's a pretty good compliment of one another. Yeah. They got speed and a sure thing in hands, so it's a good compliment.
Listen, if I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm kicking myself in the ass because a 5th-round draft pick. I'm upset I didn't make that phone call myself to bring D-Hop over after literally watching my top 2 receivers go down.
Yeah,
definitely. They got 2 weeks. That hamstring injury for Mike Evans, they're saying he's going to be out weeks. Like this isn't like one of those. He was already coming back from that hamstring injury, and it was very, very obvious that he was pulling up on it when running routes. He's definitely going to be someone that I would not expect to be back for a while. And so they got 2 weeks. They better get to that trade market quick.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Bucks. Yeah, they need to be fielding any cause they can get. You got to replace them. Mike Evans will be back at some point, but Chris Godwin's a huge loss that you have to replace. That's a must.
Definitely.
Yeah, big time.
All right. So moving on to the next segment of our show, we have roster triage. So here in this segment of our show, we like to point out individual players that we should start and sit. Some could be based on injury or poor performance. So I had Chris kind of lead the last segment. So Dr. Mikey B, go ahead and take it away with your roster triage.
All right. So Brandon Ayuk, we just talked about him. We're sitting him. We're releasing him. Gone. Off your damn roster. See you later. Worry about drafting him next year. Now, I based these picks off of a 10-man league. Most likely in your 12 and 14-man leagues. These guys are not available. However, they might be on your bench. And now with Amari Cooper recently being traded just last week as one of the big trade acquisitions, the Bills acquiring him from Cleveland. You know, he already had a touchdown, and I think it's hysterical because on that play, he had no idea what the route was. I don't know if you guys saw that. He's looking at Keon Coleman. What do I do? Keon Coleman's telling him. Keon Coleman is standing next to him when Cooper's in the slot, telling him what to do. He just runs up the seam, makes a break toward the post. Ball's right there, touchdown, move on. So if they're scoring touchdowns when he doesn't even know what the hell he's doing, just wait until they build up a little chemistry and has an idea of how, what the playbook is. I think he's someone that's going to grow. And then Jawan Jennings, he's already shown flashes this year. I know for a fact he was available in 10-man leagues as your boy just picked him up. So, yeah, that's right. That's right. Someone else in this chat also dropped him. So, I think that he's an obvious start and replacement for Brandon Ayuk. So, loving these stardoms. I feel very good about both of them. Can't really go wrong. So, that's what we got for me this week.
With this stardom sit-em, I know my opinion. Who from you guys I'd like to hear is going to make the biggest impact between Amari Cooper, Devontae Adams, and DeAndre Hopkins, the three big wide receivers that got traded?
Wow. What a good question. MJB, I'll let you start.
I think immediately it's going to be Devontae Adams. I think long-term, 4 or 5 weeks from now, I think honestly Amari Cooper. You got to understand, man, this guy was on a team with terrible quarterback play. You don't know when the ball is going to be there. So you start to get in the habit of dropping passes because it's there when you don't expect it. You don't know if you have to make some acrobatic catch. So I think he quickly gets out of that. And I think that it could be a match made in heaven with him and Josh Allen.
Absolutely.
So I think the chemistry early on is going to show with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers as it already has. I just think that I'm trusting Josh Allen more than I am Aaron Rodgers to feed Amari Cooper, and I think long term that'll be a better fit.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Honestly, I couldn't have said it better. I think D-Hop's ceiling is too low right now for me to believe that he's going to be the biggest impact comparatively to these other two receivers that you just mentioned. I think Devontae Adams, personally, I think he's the best receiver out of all three.
Yeah.
The only thing is that he's on the Jets. The Jets don't know how to win.
Yep.
They're a bad football team. New York football is an absolute terrible brand of football all across from green to blue. I don't even know how to fathom how bad these teams are. I heard this thing the other day. It was Julian Edelman, and he basically came out and said, "Well, everyone thinks that they can just do what Brady did, where he just goes out there to the Bucs and boom, next thing he takes them right to the Super Bowl, and then they go ahead and win, right? The very next year, and then he still made them a contender the following year. Obviously, they didn't finish and go all the way, but and people were expecting that from Rodgers. We're not seeing it, and Rodgers also coming off of this injury many times, guys. I mean, we're in the business. It's not till the second year many times where these guys are looking like themselves.
Yeah.
Rodgers isn't on a second year. He doesn't have another year on this contract, right? So maybe next year, I don't know. Like this team is in a win right now, win yesterday mode. And so I agree. I think that Devontae Adams is going to help. I mean, Lord knows they need it. Garrett Wilson, not knowing how to use our hands to catch the football, not our shoulder pads. I don't know what happened there. But so I don't know.
Yeah, no.
And then
I mean,
Cooper, I think, is going to do a lot.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to circle back, I completely agree. I was going to go with Amari Cooper. I'm just wondering if he could be that guy to get the Bills to the next level where they're always in those AFC championship games and they need to beat the Chiefs or they need to beat that big name team to get there. I think he can be that impact. So, wait till he learns the playbook, and I think he's going to really link up with Josh Allen.
And he is not a diva. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any quarterback will tell you it's pressure enough come playoff time. The last thing you need is a receiver coming up to you and saying, I'm open. Well,
yeah.
I have guys in my face. There's a lot going on.
And to be with you, Amari Cooper's been a one almost his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
You can argue with how Keon Coleman has been for that team. He doesn't really need to be the number one.
Yeah.
So, you got a 1A and a 1B. right now, Keon Coleman knows the playbook. Cooper clearly doesn't. So
Yeah.
Coleman is your number one at this moment. Like, I think that takes the pressure off of Amari Cooper and the whole drops issues and all this stuff. Like, I think that gives him the opportunity to work that out. And I think that he's in the best case scenario.
Yeah.
So best luck to him.
I'm happy for a lot of these receivers though that got traded, man, because a lot of them were in terrible situations, and
Really were.
It's gotten a lot better, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, no, it's true, and hopefully we can still see, their talent and production, because we haven't been able to see what we're used to seeing them do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
because the situations they're in.
All right, Chris, the sports enthusiast, show us what you got.
Yeah, so moving on, I've got Russell Wilson over Jaden Daniels. Mike Tomlin, right? He said he gets paid the big bucks to make those decisions to bench Justin Fields.
I love that, by the way.
I mean, hey, I love Russell Wilson. Guess what? First game back, 264 yards and 3 TDs. Do we have to say more? Start him if you need a quarterback, right? Nothing more to say.
Listen, I'm with you, but man, if you watch that game,
well, all I gotta say is he's up playing the Giants, so
Oh yeah,
start him.
Start.
They're just not it right now.
Yeah. So. That's why it's a good start. I'd say if you're going up against a good defense, maybe not, because we know that half of the passes thrown were like 2-3 yards behind the receiver. Thank God, George Pickens is like, the most underrated receiver in the league. And making unbelievable plays on the ball. But because they're playing the New York Giants, this is a start for me too.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. It's his first game back. I have faith he'll clean it up.
God, he's a big fan of Mr. Unlimited.
Bronco Nation, let's ride.
Let's ride. So,
all right,
guys, I heard something on the Pat McAfee show. Speculation. They were the Pittsburgh Steelers were like the finalists with 49ers in signing Brandon Ayuk, and they want to keep him over there in San Francisco. I'm hearing the Rams might be shopping Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
and that the Steelers might go after him. So that might be a new connection right there. Russ to Cooper Kupp. Just something to throw out there.
And something to throw out there was I also saw just like a post, not from the actual team or anything official, but a good fit might be Buccaneers after Chris Godwin going down.
Yes.
So that would be a great fit.
Baker's already thrown the ball to Cooper Kupp when he had that small little stint over there in LA. I love that. That would be nice.
I think that's a great landing spot.
That would be nice.
Maybe he is being rumored to be traded. Maybe he's not. I don't really know if it's real, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I heard, since we're talking about rumors from everybody, that the Chiefs were interested in signing him, but
I did hear that.
The trade fell through because they just couldn't package the right deal.
They didn't want to give a high enough draft pick, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, a 5, that's for D-Hop, that's pretty good value to me.
Yeah.
So like I think Cooper Kupp, you got to give up at least a 3.
Yeah, I think so.
At least a 3. So
yeah, probably. It shocks me every time one of these good, high names get traded for a late round draft pick. So I don't know.
You're right. We'll find out.
I jump into my roster triage. So I'm sure a lot of teams already have Brian Thomas. Not a lot of league managers already have Brian Thomas on their team. I think that he no longer needs to be a flex option. He needs to be a starter. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
He has been consistent. Okay. And from week to week, you need points. He's been consistently giving you points. A lot of other receivers are kind of up and down, so they waiver, might give you 18 one week and give you 5 the next. Brian Thomas is consistent. He'll give you 12 plus on a week-to-week basis, which is enough, to keep you in games. So I like starting Brian Thomas, not as a flex, as a full-time starter, and currently benching Mike Evans due to that hamstring injury.
I love it. And just another shout out to Brian Thomas. His receptions on player props It's a lock. Lock. This guy gets targets. He's good. He's good. Big fan. Big fan.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of him coming out of LSU too. So he's
Yeah, big
hopefully
time.
developing really
Yeah.
well over there.
Him and Malik Neighbors, man, they're doing well.
Yeah.
Okay, so into the next segment. Our docs prescribe parlays. So I know Dr. Mikey B and myself created parlays, and we both didn't hit last week, right? Mike, you didn't hit your parlay last week.
So we were very close. Everything hit except the Jaguars forgot how to play friggin' football. This was not last week because last week we were off because we were all traveling.
Oh yeah, the week
the week prior. So last week, yes, the Jaguars finally did show up in London like I said they would. The week prior, though, no, not so much, unfortunately. So, everything else hit, but yeah, the Jags did not win that game. You too, right? You were down one leg.
Yeah, two hit, one didn't. I can't remember which one didn't, but yeah. I'm highly confident in my parlay this week. So
as am I. So for myself, we have a Thursday night football special. Okay, Justin Jefferson over 85.5 receiving yards. This is not an alternate. This is the true over-under on his receiving. They're playing the LA Rams. I don't think that we have to worry about them stopping him from eating. So that, to me, he's going to get the over. Sam Darnold, alternate 225 passing yards. Aaron Jones, he showed that he was back healthy last week. I think he's a lock for an anytime touchdown, Thursday Night Football. And then I just don't think that the Rams have enough to beat the Vikings, especially after that loss to the Lions. They're competing, man, and they want to be in first in the NFC North. They're coming in hot Thursday night, and they're going to, I think, roll over the Rams to try to keep that first place spot. So Vikings money line. Total plus 525, 10 to win, 52.50. You want to throw 20 at that, you're making over $100 easy.
Oh, so all in on the Vikings, huh?
Yeah, all in.
For this week, yeah, I didn't even touch anything else. Is like we're going with the Vikings for the Thursday night special, and
Yeah,
I think this is very reasonable.
I think it's very reasonable. I think the hardest one to hit, which it still should hit, in my opinion, I'm agreeing with you, is the Sam Darnold 225 yards. They already had one bye week this year, so 3 of 6 games he's had over 225 yards, but he's playing the Rams, which are currently ranked 26th in the league for defense. So
that's what I'm saying.
It happen.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a walk in the park, but I think it should happen.
Yeah. I like it to hit. Yeah, like you said, that loss last week really hit them hard, and I think they're gonna try to push forward and make a statement out of this game. I'll go ahead and pop up my parlay. Booyah! So I'm not all in on the Vikings. I have the Rams doing something. So I have Kyron Williams getting an anytime touchdown, whether that's a rushing or receiving touchdown. All he needs is one. I have Will Richard getting 2 field goals. Okay, like think that's very possible. And I have Justin Jefferson getting 6+ receptions. You bet $20, you get $85. I think Justin Jefferson, the last 4 weeks, he's had 6 receptions or more. So yeah, all of this should be a lock. I can't imagine why I chose to only do Thursday, because our fans, they want their money now. So let's go ahead and put in bets and get that money immediately. And we can create a parlay and post it for you guys for Sunday and Monday's picks as well.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it looks like only in week 4 and week 1 he didn't have 2 or more field goals for the Vikings. So it's good. I like it.
All right. I think these are 2 locks. I'll be sure to take that when we get off the show myself. I like making money, so I'll be placing more than one bet. So I like it. Well done.
Yeah. All right. Now we're entering the last segment of our show, the 2-minute drill.
That's it.
Listen, I'll be honest. I haven't hit on a lot of these, but that changes now. I think now the reason being is early on in the season, you kind of don't know what to expect with some teams, right? You can guess all you want, but until you actually see it play out, you don't really know, right? I had high hopes for the Panthers, and look. So I think this week, I think I'm ready for it. I think I'll be spot on. And what we'll do is we'll keep tallies of what picks I make this week to kind of track it and see how we do next week. What do you guys think?
I like that plan. I do think we need to take a second to go back. I know CJ over there has been also keeping tabs on this. Wasn't it, Chris? Wasn't it 7 wins that he predicted the Panthers to get this year?
Oh, whoa, 7? No, I didn't say 7. That's crazy.
I think it was.
No, I said 3+.
No. I'm pretty sure it was 7. We have to go back
Definitely
to
was
it.
more than 3. I'll tell
It
you.
was definitely not 3. It was way more.
Definitely not.
Anyway,
4.
plus 3. But we're gonna keep an eye on that and see how many times he chooses the Panthers to win moving forward. So with that being said, all right, Mike, give me that head nod when you're ready. We're gonna start the clock.
And let's go.
Go. You're on
I
the clock.
actually feel pretty confident about this week. I don't think it's going to take me 2 minutes because just off the bat, I'm seeing some teams that should definitely win, and if they don't win, they're rooting against me. So let's get it started off with Thursday Night Football. I have the Vikings over the Rams. I think that's an easy win. I have Baltimore over the Browns, even though I think our boy will show up. I have the Lions over Tennessee. I have the Texans over the Colts. Give me the Packers over the Jaguars. Give me the Cardinals over the Dolphins. If Tua plays, I'm flipping that. For now, give me the Cards over the Dolphins.
Fair.
Give me the Jets over the Patriots.
That's a good matchup, dude.
And here we run into the
Forget
wall.
Kirk Cousins, 509 yards there against Tampa Bay earlier this year.
Oh, man. I'm going to take the Falcons just because Tampa just been decimated with injuries. That's the only reason. I don't know who they're throwing to. So for that reason, I'm taking that. Oh, that's a good one too. Give me the Eagles over the Bengals. I'll take the Chargers over the Saints. Give me the Bills over the Seahawks. That's a tough one. I'll take the Bears over the Commanders. Give me the Broncos over the Panthers. Obviously, give me the Chiefs over the Raiders, and San Fran over Dallas. Oh, I'm missing one. Sorry, boys. I gotta go Steelers over the Giants. What do you guys think?
10 seconds to spare. Well done.
That Falcons Bucks game is tough, man. That was a tough one.
Game of the week right there.
I don't think it's as tough because of the injuries. I think the Falcons
looked awful. I know you were at the Giants game, so you didn't get to see much of their play. They looked awful against the Seahawks. Awful against the Seahawks.
They were so good against Tampa the first time that it's tough to not.
Mike and I had money on friggin' Falcons too. They're the only team that lost in our parlay. Remember that, Mike?
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, so I'm a little bitter. I like the Bears pick. I think that with Jane Daniels out, unfortunately, you said it. Yeah, right. Mariota came in. They played great. They're playing the Panthers. Like the Bears are hot right now. Like I think Chicago goes in there and they get a W. I would not be surprised if the Bengals beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
So I was stuck on that for a little bit. Yeah.
I think the Bengals win that game. Yeah.
I just don't think that the Bengals have enough defensively, and that's my worry. If they win, it'll have to be a shootout.
Well, their defensive line is healthier now than it was in the beginning of the year. So we'll see how well they can stop Barkley and make them one-dimensional. If they can't do that, then yeah, it's going to be really tough.
The scary thing is that this week looks like too simple to pick compared to the previous weeks. So it's going to be
all
just
over the-
interesting.
tons-
And watch,
tons of
and
upsets.
it's gonna be like what?
Yeah,
Anyone
it's
who-
going to be interesting. Yeah.
Anyone who had me who watched us go over this 2-minute drill, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, he's a lock to get at least
Yeah.
majority of these games." Watch, it turns out the other way. I don't even have an explanation for it. I mean,
Yeah.
Jaguars are going to beat the Packers.
right,
That's
right,
the type of week this is going to be. Watch. Jaguars beat the Packers just because it makes no sense at all.
yeah. But if everything goes how it should, this is a great week to bet on
Yeah.
teams because I think there's some for sure wins that should happen.
Money line. The money line is definitely your way to go this week. I think that's definitely going to help people with some parlays. We'll try to get some more parlays out to everyone prior to Sunday. That'll be the next thing we try to get done. You can check out our Instagram where we post the parlays out. We got one of our Thursday nights up already. We got the other one, which is Dr. MJB's, will go on by the end of the evening, just so everyone can reference and get that up for tomorrow night's game. Now, with that being said, guys, great show. We covered everything, lots of injuries, which is unfortunate, but that's why we're here. This is the Docs Huddle, a lot to review, a lot to go over. Other guys stepping in replacements. So very active week. We got a big week 8 coming. I can't believe that we're almost halfway through the season already. It's actually wild. But with that being said, awesome show. For Dr. MJB, the legend, CJ, the sports enthusiast, Dr. MJB, this is the Docs Huddle. We'll see everybody next week.